Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pat from Laid Back Languages. If you're new, make sure you click the subscribe button. If you're not new, well, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be taking some advice from my Twitter followers. If you're not on Twitter, then don't worry about following me. But if you are on Twitter, follow me at Laid Back Languages. You'll find me on there, at Laid Back Lang, I think it is. Follow me on Twitter. I asked my Twitter followers, what is one thing beginner language learners get so wrong? So I'm going to be sharing their answers in this video and I'll be reacting to them. So without further ado, what is a big mistake novice language learners make when they start out learning a language? Expecting to be super duper amazing at the language after 1 week, then get bored and or discouraged when they see others who have put time and attention and years into learning. It's all in the mentality. You're playing the long game with languages. So what I really like about this piece of advice is they stress the point that when you start learning a language, you don't really know what the expectations are. Like, how long should this process take? Should I be learning the language in a week? Should I be fluent in a month? Should I be giving lectures in the language in a year? Like, they don't have any idea of how long it actually takes to learn a language. And if you think, oh, I'm gonna learn this language and I'll be really good, be fluent in a week, and inevitably you're not, you're gonna feel super discouraged. You're gonna be comparing yourself to other speakers who have been learning the language for years and years and years and years. And it may be the case that, like me, for example, with Portuguese was not my first foreign language, and I already spoke Spanish, French and Italian before learning it. So obviously I'm going to learn Portuguese a lot faster than someone who doesn't have that much experience learning languages. Thinking learning the target language is hard. There is no such thing as a difficult language to learn. All it takes is the willingness to learn and patience. Yeah, can't really disagree with this. People always ask me, oh, what's the easiest language to learn? And I'm always like, well, it's the language you most really want to learn. Like, if you don't really want to be fluent in Spanish, it's going to be hard for you to achieve that goal, right? If you just have one or two kind of superficial reasons, oh, it would look really good on my CV, or oh, I'd be able to like impress a lot of, you know, men or women, whoever you're like trying to attract. They're a bit too superficial. You're not gonna get anywhere. You need to have some really strong like convicted reasons of, yes, I'm gonna learn a language, I want to learn language for these 3 reasons. There's got to be a bit of passion in there for you to learn. That said, languages, like, depending on which languages you already speak, there's going to be like a degree of difficulty. As I mentioned before, for me learning Portuguese was not difficult because I already spoke Spanish and French and Italian, which also helped, but mainly Spanish. If I were to learn Chinese, it would be a lot harder for me than if I wanted to go and learn Romanian, which is another Romance language. So there are differing degrees of difficulty, I would say, but on the whole, I agree with what this person is saying. It's a big mistake language learners or budding language learners make. They think it's really hard to learn a language, when in reality, it's not that difficult. Not realizing that consistency is the key. 8 minutes daily is better than 1 hour a week. I see the point this person is making, and I do tend to agree that if you go at language learning at 100 miles an hour from day one, you think, right, okay, I'm going to learn French and I'm going to study for 3 hours every day and I'm going to get fluent like that. There will be a few people in the world, like a tiny percentage of people, who will be able to do that, and they will get results, okay? But the reality is, you still have to learn over years if you're going to speak a language properly, if you're going to like get it into your long-term memory. It's a process. It takes years, months, years to learn. So with that said, doing a little every day is always much better than just randomly studying for 3 hours a week, for example, in one day. You're much better off listening, reading, writing, speaking a little bit every single day. That's why I've set up the Laid Back Languages Academy. If you're learning French or Spanish, at the moment we've got places open, and it's an academy where I send you guys videos, messages and memes, funny things, just to prompt you to start speaking in your language every day. So you get basically mini lessons Monday to Friday. So if you're interested in checking it out, there's a link in the description. There's a 2-week free trial at the moment, so you've got nothing to lose. Just if you're learning French or Spanish, click it, have a go. Buying too many books and not sticking to one, not practicing with native speakers, perfectionism. I don't think there's just one mistake, there can be many. Well, that's true. That's true. What I can take from that is pick a method and just go for it. Stick with one method, one school of thought. If you find yourself like feeling really bored when you like read a textbook or whatever, stay away from them. Stay away from them. If you're like me and you enjoy more speaking and practicing with native people from day one, that's brilliant. You can do that. If you find you enjoy listening to audiobooks, podcasts, which I also do, I put a lot of emphasis on listening and speaking from the start. And then I do the more academic side of the language later on, once I've got a good grasp of the language. But it's up to you. You've got to pick a method that resonates with you and do it and stick to it. Stick to it and don't go off track, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. Say to yourself, okay, I'm going to make a plan, I'm going to study this time of day, I'm going to study this aspect of the language, and just stick to it and do it for a prolonged period. Try and do it for like 90 days. That's what I would aim for. And then after those 90 days, you can reassess and see what worked, what didn't. But yeah, find a method that resonates and stick to it. Oftentimes, beginner language learners, use resources that aren't suitable for their level, or they try to learn too many things in a day. They get discouraged early on in the process by doing this. Yeah, so that kind of leads on from the last point, doesn't it? If you try and do too much, you're going to feel overwhelmed and you'll get like discouraged. You want to break down your goals. Make it super, super simple and easy for your brain to acquire the language. Don't overwhelm it with loads of new information. Trying to force and cram everything in there. It's not like school. It's not like you want to shove everything in your short-term memory and then splurge it out onto a page for the exam the next day. You do not want to do this. This is not real learning. Okay, if you want to learn a language properly and have it in your subconscious memory and your subconscious mind and retain it, then you need to choose bite-sized bits you can do and do them consistently over a long period of time. That is the way to learn a language. Treating it like another subject in school. You don't learn a language the same way you study biology. Yep, very true. As I said, you're properly learning when you learn a language. This is not some kind of academic subject where you want to retain a lot of information and then write an essay about it and then kind of forget that information and then move on to the next thing. You want to keep all of it. It's like learning a song. If you want to learn a song, the best way is to like listen to it over and over again and practice singing it over and over again. You have to take a holistic approach to learning a language. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. And the last but not least is trying to learn multiple languages at once. Yeah, this is something, it's quite sweet. I like it when people decide they want to learn a language and then they kind of start listening to Spanish and then they listen to a bit of French and then they also know someone who's German, so they try and learn a bit of German, a bit of French and a bit of Spanish. If you've got a lot of time on your hands and you've got a very high high IQ maybe, that could be achievable, but it ain't realistic for the majority of people. For 99.9% of people, you are just going to find yourself getting very frustrated because you'll mix up the languages, and I do not recommend it. Unless you're a very advanced language learner. I recommend doing one language and focusing on it and getting to at least, I like to get to a B1, B2 kind of level. I like to feel, okay, this is definitely in my long-term memory. I might mix certain words with different languages, but I know like I've got like a character. I've talked about that in another video. I'll link it in the description about the importance of creating a character. If I feel I've created a character, it's in my long-term memory, then I'll start thinking about learning another language if I want to. But I never tend to learn two languages side by side, and I definitely do not recommend doing that if you are a beginner language learner. Like I said, there are exceptions. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter who are saying, like, I learn two languages at the same time, it's fine for me. Good for you, well done. Most people work 40 hours a week, they've got a job, they've got family, they've got kids, they've got hobbies, they've got things to do, they don't have the time to do that. So I would suggest do one language at a time, set yourself maybe 3 years, 3, 4, 5, 6, depends. 5 years, I normally give myself 5 years to learn the language, and then I'll start thinking about learning another. Sometimes it takes doesn't take that long. It might take a couple of years, and I might be like, okay, I feel good enough in this language to start another one now. But basically what I'm trying to say is, don't put pressure on yourselves to learn, guys. You gotta keep it fun. Language learning, first and foremost, has got to be a hobby for you, even though the outcome is a fantastic skill and it will change your life massively. You cannot comprehend how much it will change your life unless you actually walk that path and do it. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Remember to like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thanks very much, that helps a lot. And also check out the links in below if you want to learn French, Spanish, Italian, English or Portuguese. I do coaching in all of those languages. And also check out the Laid Back Languages Academy for French and Spanish if you want daily mini videos and lessons sent to you to make sure you're speaking and thinking in that language Monday to Friday. You get the weekends off. Check that out as well. There's a free 2-week trial at the moment, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching. Speak to you next time. Ciao.